Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And in this video, we're just going to do another Velocity Banking review. But before we get started, I just want to talk about some of my thoughts about how, it would be nice if they taught us real life skills in school, because every time I drive home on the main road, there's an elementary school. And I see that school and I'm really curious. Like, there's all these teachers, administrators, students. I wonder if they're all struggling, especially the adults, the teachers and even the six-figure admins. Because if you didn't know, 50% of six-figure earners live paycheck to paycheck. Okay. They live paycheck to paycheck. And so um I always wonder, like, hey, maybe if they kind of taught personal finance or just basic life skills like how to eat correctly. I wonder if these TikToks would appear, right? Like, I think I don't know if you ever heard the phrase that children are a message in time that we'll never see. Like, that was coined by, a guy named Neil Postman, who used to be a New York University professor. Folks, these TikToks are the message in time. There are people who recently became adults, and then, for the first 16 to 20 years of your life, you didn't teach them anything, and now, like, they're wondering why they're struggling, so they're just gonna record themselves on TikTok struggling. Isn't that sad? But anyways, let's go ahead and get started with our velocity banking review. So, what is velocity banking? All it is a debt payoff strategy where you throw all of your money into debt with the help of something called a line of credit. I know it's crazy, right? You could throw all of your money into debt, all of it. And most people have a hard time doing that because what they do is they pay their bills and then they think it's responsible to have their leftover in savings. And in this case, we'll have a negative $28 in our savings account. Negative $28. Negative 28. Okay. All right. And so the only difference between velocity banking and not doing velocity banking, it's not the income and the expenses because they just stay the same. All right. The income and the expenses are the same, but what we're going to do is redirect the flow of money. So, what does that essentially mean? So, you see this moo right here. Well, the difference between the average American and someone who does velocity banking is what we call their moo. What does that mean? Main operating account. In fact, I finally found a cow emoji that I can use to represent your main operating account. Like this bear, it's because you're smarter than the average bear. And then this goat it represents being the greatest of all time because if you didn't know and you're new to the channel, I paid off my mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. You take a look at that, July 29, 2024. Maturity date 2051. You can do the calculation, paid off 0. And then this is Meta AI drawing me as the greatest of all time. I am the GOAT of debt payoff. Okay. So, all right. And then, so this is what we're going to do. We're just going to redirect the flow of money. So, what's the difference between here and here? Well, again, you pay for things out of your checking account and then you leave the leftover in savings. Whereas here, you're deliberately not saving money and you're throwing your entire pay into that line of credit as soon as you get paid in your checking account, right? That's the only real difference. If you don't believe that I do this, I mean, this is just, a screenshot that I took a while back about zero, money comes in and then money goes out. And it goes out into something, usually we call that a line of credit, right? And it doesn't always have to be. Like if you can't get a line of credit, then you gotta use your alternatives, but we wanna make it the line of credit. And, you know, I don't know if you ever watch, like, those Ty Lopez, "Here in My Garage" commercials where he's, like, showing off the Lamborghini. I know you're looking at this. I'm not gonna this is kinda like my Lamborghini for now. Who knows? Maybe, like, in 2 months, it'll be, like, 100,000 or next year, right? But my point is this, okay? I don't save money. Doesn't matter whether I make 10,000 or 100,000, I don't save money. If I make 2,000, I don't save money because we're applying all that money into debt and then we're going to use a line of credit to help us do that. Okay? So let's assume we have a line of credit, $70,000. So what's a line of credit? All it is a financial tool where you could borrow money, pay it back, and then use it over and over again. So essentially, a credit card is a line of credit, but there's other types of lines of credit, kind of like this one right here. Let me go ahead and flex, which is my $280,000 home equity line of credit. $280,000, right? And so I can literally click a button on the bank's website and then I can dump up to $280,000 into my checking account at a 7.5% interest rate. In fact, if you take a look at this, right, and I need to relabel this lock limits, I have over $594,000 in lines of credit. It's probably going to be over 600,000 soon, 600,000, but I have over 500,000 in lines of credit. And here's the secret that you're never going to be taught in school. Banks don't lend money to people who need it. So many people, they don't take this seriously. They don't take this seriously. Once you take this seriously, then you'll understand the secret to getting credit, right? And if you're definitely at the negative savings mark, nobody's going to give you a free and clear line of credit. Okay, nobody. But what if we did? So this is just kind of like a warning, man. Like build yourself a good foundation, okay, and then start out in life. Don't go to school, learn nothing for 16 to 20 years, and then record yourself on TikTok struggling. Right? I'm not making fun of people. I say this as a person back in like 2016 to 2019 who literally I literally made 20 grand a year. I think less than that. I was like, what the F am I doing with my life? So, all right, let me go back here. Okay. So let's assume we have access to a $70,000, what we call home equity line of credit. 9%. You're not going to get it because banks don't lend money to people who need it. But what if you did? Okay. If you're the average American and you make your checking account as your main operating account, aka your MOO, um, main operating account. What's going to happen is that if you don't do velocity banking, you make your line of credit as your main operating account. Let's say you had a $1,000 emergency. Okay, you're maxed out here. Oh my goodness, a free and clear line of credit, $1,000 emergency. Well, guess what happened? Now you're stressed because if the minimum payment is, let's say, $50, then you just have an additional negative $50 in savings. Okay, but okay, but when we use our line of credit as our main operating account, okay, we're going to move these three credit cards. That's $70,000, $70,000. Okay. Think of it as like a balance transfer. Okay. Balance transfer. Guess what happens to these payments? Zero, zero, zero. And so now we literally went from negative $28. Let's take this in $28 of savings. Got to dramatically zoom up to $2,234.16. $2,234.16. Amazing, right? $2,234.60. How do we do that? Go from here to here. There's a reason why I put this here because when you see this, and this money part didn't increase, this income did not increase, it's like, what the F is going on? Especially if this is your first time like looking at this, right? Go from here to here. How did I get all these lines of credit? I don't know. I must not know what I'm talking about. People will always try to assure me, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Well, you can assure me while I don't know what I'm talking about, but I'll stare at this paid off mortgage in 2 years that I paid off in 2 years and 9 months. 2 years and 9 months, right? In fact, let me go ahead and stare at this for 10 more seconds. And the more that you stare at this, the more my ego will be fed. So I'm going to do a countdown to 10. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And so again, that's feeding my ego to the max, okay? But I literally did pay off a mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. And that's how I got the $280,000 first lien HELOC, home equity line of credit. All right? But I have in lines of credit 594,000, which makes me the GOAT, I think. Not the super GOAT, but one of the greatest of all time. All right, so let's go ahead and do this. And what we're gonna do is put our paycheck into the line of credit, which is the 6,000, expenses out, and then we just rinse and repeat over and over again. That's the final step, right? You put your paycheck in, it satisfies the minimum monthly payment, you take your expenses out, and then your cash flow will make the balance go down, right? So G2 plus H2 minus. So to get the next month's balance, it's based on the previous month's balance and interest minus 2234.16. And what we're going to do is take the average daily balance, multiply by the interest rate times 0.09, and then divide by 12. So in this case, we'll say it's 9%. We could even use 15. 10, 15. I've done examples where I have 2 personal lines of credit that are like 15%. So personal like this personal line of credit actually I have 3. This one I think is 12%. Where's my other personal? Oh yeah, I got like all these personal lines of credit. And the thing is I just get the money when I don't need it. That's the thing. That's the secret. That's the secret. That's the secret sauce. All right. So let's go ahead and do this. And all we gotta do is copy and paste. So paycheck in, expenses out, and then you see that the balance goes down, right? So do it again. Balance goes down, and the amount of interest that you pay goes down, right? So paycheck in, expenses out. And so as you put all of your money into the line of credit, the interest goes down as well because it's based on the average daily balance, right? So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to copy and paste, okay? Copy and paste. And then let's go ahead and do this 36 months. So 36 months, we paid off 70K of debt. Not bad. That's 3 years. I mean, if I wanted to pay off that debt earlier, let's say 1 year, I need a side hustle, but or I need to do some Uber, Grubhub, DoorDash, and I don't know how people afford that. You ever see, like if you ever do DoorDash, that $30 meal suddenly becomes a $100 meal, or I don't know how it works, but I feel like that's how it works, right? But all right, so 36. So increase your income if you don't want to pay off your 70K debt in 3 years. All right. So now we got these 3 loans, right? So it's very easy. So I feel like this type of finance should be taught in schools because a lot of people don't understand amortized loans and there's really they have like this HB2 calculator, which uses a lot of the functions that Excel has, right? So if you have, there's a payment function in like a HP Turbo 2 calculate finance calculator, where if you have these 3 the items, the original balance, the interest rate, and the term, it'll spit out the payment amount. Okay, it'll spit out the payment amount, and then if you want to know the current balance, okay, you just type in the month and what's the current month right here, which is 36. Then, okay, then it'll spit out the current balances. So from this 21 grand loan, because it's usually a 5-year loan, we're significant in at the tail point of the loan, right? So here's the thing: from an over, we're going to think holistically, right? So the highest interest rate is actually this loan right here, the student loan. Now, why are we not focusing on this first? Because if we pay off this 8 grand, we can immediately get more bang for a buck in terms of cash flow, right? So 8.9 grand to get $386 or 30 grand to get $424. Which one would you pay? Certainly not the mortgage because that's 188 grand to pay off $954. Now, I don't know about you, but do you know anybody who has a $210,000 mortgage right now if they bought a new home today? I feel like that's impossible. Because what's the average home price? Actually, let's just do this. Average home price in Atlanta. I feel like it's gonna be 400,000. Whoa, 380,000. So I guess 6 figures is the new lower middle class boys and girls. 380,000 in where are we? Duluth. Let's do Anaheim, California. Almost $1 million in Anaheim, California. Interesting. You'll get much more bang for your buck in Atlanta than you will for Anaheim, California. So, all right. So let's go ahead and do this and 3 loans. And so what we're going to do is pay off this 8 grand to get the 300 back in our cash flow, or almost 400. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and highlight this. And then we're going to add that 3 grand, so or 8 grand, 8906.11. And then what we're going to do is increase our cash flow by 386. And now our new cash flow is about 2600. All right. So I'm going to do this right here. I'm going to do this right here. So this is going to be 2620.91. All right. And so you see in 40 months, this car note was paid off. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it took about 4 months to pay it off. So in 40 months, what do we have here? That's going to be 91K. And then we have the student loan and we have the mortgage. So let's go here and then I'll do 40, 40, and then this is 0. And so now, if so, one thing that I just want you to know is that if this number is low or high, bigly, and this number has a significant difference between the line of credit interest rate, you probably don't want to move the thing into a line of credit. All right. And we can actually do a comparison with our velocity banking calculator. So let's go ahead and put it in the details that we have here. So what's the current balance of the loan, which is, or the original balance is 40,000. What's the current balance? It's 28813.06, 28813.06. What is the interest rate? It is 5%, 10 years, and the payment amount is 424.26. And then this is a 9% line of credit. What's our monthly income? I believe it's almost exactly $100,000. So 6,000. And then our living expenses is everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off. So it's just these two right here. So it's 2954.83. So 2954.83. And we're just going to do a quick comparison. If I move this entire thing in for 5% loan into a line of credit, that's about $1,000 of interest. Yet if I just do small chunks, so $6,000, that's saving about $200 of interest. Okay. So when it's like when it deals with like, a 10-year loan, 5, 10 year, it's not really that big of a deal, but we kind of have to be a little bit careful. Okay. Especially when it comes to a 30-year mortgage. So now this is 0.8 years. So 0.8 years, and then this is going to be 0. And then this is going to be 40 plus 0.8 times 12. So we'll say 50 months. 50 months, and then, wait a minute. Did I do the math? Yeah, 50 months. Okay. And then let's go here, and I am going to do this. So this is now going to be 50. This is going to be paid off. And then we just kind of type in the details in the loan calculator right here. So 4% at 30 years. And this is going to be 954.83. And then this one is everything except for the loan we're trying to pay off, our general living expenses. And then the original balance is 200,000. Did I put 200,000? Oh, did I screw up? Oh, well, then I just got to correct this. 200,000. And then, so this is going to be 184,349.84. 184,349.84. 4.3 years. Okay. Have you ever heard of anybody paying off their mortgage in 4.3 years? Well, I don't know anybody who's paid off for 4.3 years, but again, I myself have paid off my mortgage in 2 years and 9 months. 2 years and 9 months. And I actually know someone who's actually going to pay off the mortgage in about like 1 year. Like 2 houses, high cost areas. One house is going to be paid off in 1 year, and the other house is going to pay it off in like 2 years. Nice position to be in, right? See, I don't have to even be the Michael Jordan of all this because it's like I know that there will be people who beat me. So this is not like a competition for me. But what I don't want to be surrounded by is people who are just struggling and struggle. It breaks my heart. Breaks my heart. You see all these people struggling, and then like, what the f is going on? It's like leave the U.S. And then I don't know if it's just me, but does it seem like they spend a lot of money on makeup and aesthetics? A lot of people seem to do that. A lot more than back in my day, right? Everybody looks like, I don't know, Kim Kardashian, but then they're broke. Got a lot of beautiful broke women. How does that work? Because that's how it works. All right. So, okay. So let me take a look at this. What do we have here? We got velocity banking crack. I don't know what that exactly that is, but I typed that in to draw velocity banking crack, and then here we got the velocity banking Kool-Aid. Yeah. I don't even know what this is, but, they say don't drink the Kool-Aid, but I'll say it's okay to drink the Velocity Banking Kool-Aid. So, let's go here, 4.3 years, and again, the warning is, because some YouTubers promote this, "Oh, dump all of your mortgage into a line of credit. If you wanna pay more, end up paying more, I guess. I don't wanna pay 30 grand more than I have to, right? Let's pay the 17." All right, that's it for today, folks. So, this is Korean Lands Mentorship. I know some of you got kids in school right now, but you ever wonder what are they learning? And you ever try to teach them this and they act like, "No, I'm good." That's how I feel when I deal with young people nowadays. It's like, "Hey, look at me. I'm not financially struggling." And then later on, you almost feel like you're the front man from Squid Game. Remember the front man from Squid Game? I'm gonna tell you what it feels like to be rich and look at all these like people who are struggling. You almost feel like the front man from Squid Game. And the reason why you feel like that is because you're literally like in your own comfortable room, like this guy right here, watching watching TV and then just seeing literally like a race to the bottom. That's what it feels like when you become rich and then you look at these TikToks. Now, here's the thing. I may be rich or I might just by pretend to play a rich character in YouTube. You decide, right? I'll just leave it there out there. All right. So, yep, this is now 0 and where are we? So we are at 50 months plus 4.3 years. So 50 divided by 12 plus 4.3, and that's 8.47 years, not tears. I can't even spell. Years. We are debt free. Oh yeah. That's what the Kool-Aid man would say. All right. So this would be 131K, and then this is going to be 341K. We are debt free. Debt free. All right. That's cool. All right. So shout outs to all of you who make your line of credit as your MOO, your main operating account. And hopefully you could be smarter than the average bear and one day you will be the GOAT, the greatest of all time. Okay. All right. Well, that's it for today, folks. This is Korean to Mentorship. Have a great day and I'll see you on the next video.